was the last time you got to hold your grandson?
The end of February. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
During this period of social isolation, they're really cut off, not only from their grandkids, but almost their entire social life that they had before.
His wife wasn't able to attend the funeral. From the time he was rushed into the hospital with his stroke, for that 3 weeks, and then she'd never seen him again.
From the Zoomerplex in historic Liberty Village, the Zoomer with Marissa Lennox.
We all know that the relationship between a grandparent and a grandchild is a special one. Not only do grandchildren help keep their grandparents young, the wisdom shared in return helps form this special bond. But the COVID-19 pandemic has put a strain on that bond as we are all forced to maintain physical distancing recommendations. We'll speak with grandparents and some grandchildren about what they're doing to maintain those connections. But before we dive in, let's tee up the topic.
In a recent U.S. survey, 64% of older adults reported using a new technology during the COVID-19 pandemic in order to communicate with grandchildren or adult children. While a majority still prefer to speak by phone, older adults are embracing video chat and online messaging apps like never before. 18% say they tried FaceTime for the first time, while another 16% tried other face-to-face apps, including Skype, Facebook Live, and Zoom. And while video chat is not a perfect substitute for real face-to-face interaction, it's the next best thing. In the meantime, grandparents around the world are finding innovative ways to stay connected virtually, from storytelling to show and tell.
I'm joined now by Ron Swan, his wife Karen, and their grandchildren, Silas and Emerson, as well as their son Matt and his two children, Iber and Lila. Hey guys, nice to see you all. Thanks for joining me.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
You have such a beautiful family, Ron and Karen. Thank you guys for coming on. You know, have you been able to see your grandkids or your children at all during the pandemic since the start of it?
Yes, we have. We're close enough to one another that we can stand in the backyard and talk to them. And only thing we miss is we haven't hugged them in a long time, and we really want to do that.
Now, I understand you're in an especially difficult situation. You have two new additions to your family, is that right?
That's right, yeah. But we wouldn't be able to see them anyway because they're in the NICU. They're just a little over 3 pounds. They were supposed to be born the end of May, and they April 30th. So they're in there with their mom, and they're doing great.
Now, let's see. Emerson and Silas, hey guys. You know, what's it been like not being able to see your grandkids or even give them, your grandparents, or even give them hugs during this pandemic?
It's been a new and kind of weird experience. I'm just seeing everyone, so it's an adjustment.
An adjustment for sure. How have you guys been keeping busy?
We've been doing our homework, going outside, playing some guitar, just trying to keep ourselves busy during this pandemic.
And are you excited to meet your two new brothers?
Yeah, very excited.
What are their names?
Levi and Finley.
Very nice. All right. Over to you, Matt. Now you have, that's Iber there and Lila. Hi, guys.
Yeah. Hi.
How have you been keeping during, this whole period of physical distancing and not being able to see people?
Yeah, it's been, definitely a little bit lonely. We're more used to seeing people in person, and we're not able to do that so much right now. But the weather's been getting gradually better and better, so it's allowed us to get outside a lot more, and just playing with the kids a lot, trying to keep them busy, trying to get some schoolwork done, and it's very different. And looking forward to things getting back to normal sooner than later.
Lila, how old are you?
5.
Or how has it been for you not being able to see your grandparents so regularly?
You miss them? Yeah. Do you want to go give them hugs? You being shy?
Ivor, how about you?
Well, it wasn't really like normal when like we don't get to see our grandparents that often.
Looking forward to see them again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing them again. Ron and Karen, you guys you're busy with CARP, you're busy, but any suggestions for our audience in terms of how to stay connected to their family during this time?
So connecting by FaceTime and Messenger, or just getting them to share their day's experience with us as we, what'd you do today, and the videos and the pictures that are posted online, whether they're sliding down a hill, going on their bikes, or playing basketball in the driveway. I mean, all these things mean a lot to us.
Definitely. Well, it sounds like you have a beautiful family and you guys are staying in touch the right way. So that's great to hear. Well, I hope you all take care and stay safe.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We'll check in
Nova
with more.
Scotia strong.
We'll check in with more grandparents across the country after the break. Stay tuned.
But we're finding a couple of interesting ways to stay in touch, a little out of the ordinary.
Welcome back. We're speaking with grandparents across the country, as well as some of their grandchildren, as they try to stay connected during the coronavirus pandemic. Joining me now is Daniel Morello and his grandparents, Domenico and Ada. Daniel, you and your brother David started an amazing company to help folks like your grandparents stay connected. Tell me a little bit about the impetus behind it.
Me and my brother were essentially discussing how we would like to impact society or help people during this pandemic. But unfortunately, because we live with our two grandparents, we couldn't really do the grocery hero or essentially do grocery delivery to other people's houses because we didn't want to put them at risk. So combining my neuroscience background with my brother's business background, we tried to think of ways we could help people without putting our grandparents at risk. So from my research in psychiatry, indirectly I learned about the importance of having a strong social network and how social isolation could be detrimental to one's mental health. So using that factor, coupled with looking at the level of technological difficulty my grandparents were having with utilizing things that us millennials take for granted, me and my brother devised Texture TL, which provides a free technical support for older adults so that they can be able to connect with their loved ones. That is the primary purpose. However, it expands to even doing basic functions like learning how to utilize their devices like phones and computers better, being able to download music, send documents, and send pictures to loved ones.
So, mind my ignorance, but how are you able to provide that technical support during a pandemic? Is it over the phone?
Yes, so currently it's over the phone, primarily because a lot of these seniors don't have the technological competency to do things like FaceTime and stuff, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to teach them how to do things like use Zoom, use Skype, use FaceTime Messenger. So it's over the telephone, and the way that it works is that we get the contact information of the senior, just their first name and their phone number to minimize security risks. And then we pair them with a millennial volunteer. So we give the millennial volunteer that contact information, and then they have a 30-minute call where they help them with any of their technological issues and provide insightful instructions on how to utilize numerous online platforms.
Now I have to ask, Domenico and Ada, are you guys tech wizards now because of your grandson?
Yeah, well, they help us very much. Yeah.
We're very happy. We try to help somebody.
How have your grandparents influenced your life?
They've influenced it tremendously. They've taught me the importance of hard work. They came from another country with nothing but the clothes on their back and made a life for us, a life that would be better for me. So just teaching the importance of discipline, staying strong, and keeping together as a family.
And Domenico and Ada, what joy and benefit do you get from your grandkids?
Oh, a lot. And we are so proud
Very
because
proud.
they're very good.
We got two
And
boys
I
here and two
regret
girls there.
the work we did for them. Because they're really good. The four of them.
We are good to them and they are good to us.
They're very, very good. And anything that I ask, they teach us. Yeah.
Well, that's
First we teach them, but now they teach us.
Well, that's good. Well, I'm so happy to hear that you guys are staying well and that you're staying healthy. And Daniel, thank you for coming on the show to share your platform and your creation, if you will. I'm now joined by Nick Jupp. Nick, you have 3 young granddaughters, 10, 9, and 7, I believe. How are you trying to stay connected with them during these times?
Well, we're very lucky that they're only half an hour drive away. So we have done the usual things, the drive-bys, etc. But we're finding a couple of interesting ways to stay in touch, a little out of the ordinary.
How are you staying in touch? What are those ways?
Well, one of the ways that's proving to be a lot of fun is that the 10-year-old and I are writing a story together where she wrote the first paragraph, she invented the story, passed it over to me through Google Docs, I think is what she's using, and I write the next paragraph. And you always have to finish the paragraph in the middle of a sentence with ... You pass it back and you never know what's happening. But anyway, the adventure is carried on and it's getting quite exciting.
And you're doing this through Google Doc?
Through Google Doc. It's a great way to stay in touch. I've noticed, it's fun to anticipate what the story will happen. She's enjoying getting my writing back. But there's another little thing, a little benefit that's I've noticed, is that it gives you a little insight as to where their minds are at as they're growing up. I just give you the example that she started this story with newborn baby tigers. And I'm reading about this, it's all very sweet, and all of a sudden, one of the little babies isn't going to make it. And the mother has explained that this is what happens in nature. So clearly, as a 10-year-old, this concept is just found her in some way, and it was an interesting little insight as to her maturation.
All right. Well, thanks for joining me, Nick, and for sharing that wonderful story about writing a story with your granddaughter. I just love the concept and I love the idea.
Love it. Thank you.
We need to take a short break. There's more of the Zoomer when we come back.
When was the last time you got to hold your grandson?
The end of February. I'm sorry. Sorry.
When was the last time you got to hold your grandson?
The end of February. I'm sorry.
It's okay. For many older Zoomers, grandkids make up a great deal of the joy in their lives. And with today's physical distancing rules in full effect, many grandparents find themselves forced to interact from a distance, a scenario that can be quite difficult for the entire family. What is it that you miss the most?
Just being able to hold him, bathe him, dress him, everything.
Show Nona your lollipop. What color is it?
I think it's purple.
Look, show Nona. Don't do that.
How does it work with the FaceTime? How do you feel about that?
Oh, it's not the same.
No.
It's not the same at all.
Are we doing social distancing with Nonna?
Yes.
How come? How come?
Because of Corona
Because of what?
virus.
The virus? He just couldn't understand why can't I go to Nonna's house. So we've taught him social distancing and we openly talk about it.
I love you, Nana, and don't stand close, Darren.
I'm not standing close. I'm far.
See, it's so hard. She's my sweetheart.
Oh, she's running to you.
I know. I'm even surprised how much she really recognizes me. Oh, sweetheart, I love you. She doesn't understand why I don't hug her.
She looks so upset.
This is our daughter Mila, and she's 20 months old. Yeah, it's difficult for the whole family, and you really realize how important physical contact is.
Who's that, Mila?
Little.
Yeah.
She thinks I don't want to see her. It's breaking my heart. And I see her smile and I want to hug her and I can't.
CARP, Canada's leading association for Canadians as we age, understands the frustration that grandparents are feeling and have come up with a list of things they can do to try and best deal with this time apart from their grandkids. They include learning to use FaceTime or Skype on your phone or computer so you can watch a show or a movie on one while video chatting on the other at the same time. 2, set up specific times to visit online so your grandkids have something to look forward to. For the full list as well as the latest COVID-19 news, visit carp.ca. We leave you now with one last piece of advice from Mila's grandma.
Just don't give up. Don't ever give up. Whatever bit of affection or interest you can show, do it. Don't wait another minute because time just flies by.
In Toronto, I'm Darren Maharaj for Zoomer News.
Welcome back to this very special episode of The Zoomer as we feature the stories of grandparents struggling to stay connected with their grandchildren during the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm joined now by Jillian Lockitch from Vancouver. Jillian, you have 3 grandchildren, one who lives nearby. It must be difficult not to be able to hold your grandson.
Actually, the hardest thing about this whole isolation has been exactly that, not being able to kiss and cuddle my little 3-year-old grandson. And also the fact that he doesn't understand why he's only seeing his granny through a screen.
Well, I was just going to ask, so he doesn't fully grasp what's happening. I'm sure he probably wants to reach through it and reach at you.
Right, we do a lot of the kisses, but and he's learning to do that. But yeah, it's difficult.
How important, Jillian, is that physical connection to you?
It's incredibly important, and I think the hardest thing about the isolation is the loss of physical contact. We're a very affectionate, hugging family. My friends, you know, we all greet each other with hugs, and of course one can't do that now. So I think the physical aspect is an important loss. And I'm just going to be optimistic that some things will come back, you know. And I don't really want to think that we're never, ever going to be able to hug again.
Jillian, thank you so much for joining.
It's a pleasure. Lovely to talk to you.
I'm now joined by Diane Parker. Diane, thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for asking. It's a pleasure.
Now, you have 2 grown granddaughters, I understand, one of whom lives close by and would often visit before we had to isolate ourselves. Yes. I understand you're living alone. You must miss those visits and weekly dinners, I imagine.
I sure do. We've tried to compensate in a number of ways. Well, for instance, this morning, someone had sent me flowers this week to my home. And so I took a picture of the bouquet of flowers this morning and sent them to Margaret and also to Zurich, Switzerland, to my granddaughter Zoe. And the caption was, from lots of love, a bouquet of love from my heart to your heart. And they instantly replied, both of them, they really appreciated it.
Now tell me a little bit about what you used to do with your granddaughter that lives close by. What are some of the things you used to look forward to doing with her?
Oh, sharing dinner, that's for sure. And going to her concerts. She's in a choir at King's University. And you know, seeing her often, really. And last summer, she lived with me while she worked as a student here in Halifax. And so we were together, a lot physically. And right now, we can't do that except from a distance. I do drive over to her flat and leave treats on her door and go out on the sidewalk. And she comes and stands on her stoop and we can chat from a distance, but haven't had a hug for many, 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 many weeks. I can drive over to her place and keep a distance, a fair-sized distance, to at least see her in form and talk from a distance, and find ways to bring her moments of joy.
All right, well, thank you for joining and for sharing your story.
Thank you so much.
There's more after the break. Stay tuned.
During this period of social isolation, they're really cut off, not only from their grandkids, but almost their entire social life that they had before.
Joining me now is Valerie White. Valerie, thank you for being here.
It's my pleasure.
Tell me a little bit about your family, how many grandkids you have, so on and so forth.
We have 4 grandchildren. We have 3 living in Calgary, Alberta now, and 1 in Denver, Colorado.
And how often do you get to see the one living in Denver, Colorado?
Well, it's been a difficult year because his dad, my son, was killed in a car accident. So I've been back and forth to Colorado 5 times to assist him with the adjustment and to handle the legal matters and trying to make sure that the house is in his name and so on. So it's, I was planning, I had a flight booked for March, and then COVID came along. So we still are in touch, of course, all the time, but it's different when you can't be there in person and chat informally and then deal with the issues that you have to deal with legally and so on.
Valerie, I am so sorry to hear that, and my sincerest condolences go
Thank
to
you.
you and your family. Not being able to see, so I imagine you would have been a huge support for your grandson who lost his father then, and not being able to get there during this pandemic would just be...
Absolutely, yes, and I think he would be the first to say that. You know, he does have other family there, but it's sort of an unsettled family, and so my being there has been really, really helpful for him.
Now, I also understand you have another grandson planning a wedding?
Well, yes, I have, the news from Calgary, the oldest grandson, he and his wife are expecting a baby, their first child, in June. So that's coming up right away, and we're hoping that we can go and share in that excitement, or that they can come here.
Now, will this be your first great-grandchild?
Yes, it will be. Yes, so we're pretty excited about that because we played a major role in a grandparenting role, and we hope to have a role in the grandchildren's lives and their changes as well.
Would you have otherwise been there for the birth of your great-grandson or great-granddaughter?
Well, it is going to be a great-grandson, and if things were different, we would probably go. But with COVID, you just can't take a chance.
All right. Well, Valerie, thank you so much for your time and for joining me today.
You are very welcome. Thank you.
Joining me now is Bill Van Gorder, Vice Chair of CARP's National Board of Directors. Bill is also a grandfather of 2. Bill, thanks for joining me.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
How has it been not being able to see your grandkids?
It's been really difficult. Our grandkids are older. One has just started university. The other is now in high school, and they have an awful lot to share with us and do with us, and not being able to see them regularly has been really difficult for us, and I think for them too.
How often did you used to see them before the pandemic hit?
Yeah, well, we would see them on all the special occasions, and whenever anything was important to be done, we would also be able to see them at their places of work because we were able to use those stores where they work and be able to talk to them and have help us. And we were also able to enjoy with them the kind of activities that they were doing. They're both very much into sports. And of course, we went to as many of the games as we could. And now there's none of that. So not only are they feeling at loose ends because they don't have their sports, we don't have the opportunity to go and watch them on a regular basis. In the regular sporting season, and they play all the sports, we probably saw them once a week on the ice or at the rink or in the field.
You know, it's interesting because now that we don't have those simple pleasures in life, you wonder how many people maybe underestimated how much they needed them in their life to bring them that sort of joy.
Well, they do, and you know, for many of the grandparents that we know, and many of our CARP members who are grandparents, their interaction with their children and their grandchildren is their social activity. They don't have much social activity outside of that. So during this period of social isolation, they're really cut off, not only from their grandkids, but almost their entire social life that they had before.
You know, it's interesting. When I've been asked about that exactly, I say those exact words, you know, if you used to call once a day, call twice a day. What are some of the other suggestions you have, Bill, for people to stay in touch?
Around the telephone, one of the things is that young children especially like schedule, they like routine. So let them know when you're going to call or be in touch with them, whether it's by phone or online. Set up appointments with them so they have something to look forward to. And the same goes, by the way, for any grandchildren who are watching now. They should do the same thing with their grandparents. Don't make it a one-way street, and make sure that you're able to have activities that both of you will enjoy doing.
Well, what would some of those activities be? Because, you know, I know we're all being encouraged to get outside and go for long walks. Is there ways that you can do it together but remotely?
Exactly. So think of the things that you might normally do with your grandchildren and find a way to do them. You can read books together on the phone or online. You can watch a television program together, both watching the same program and talking about it. Grandparents can share simple recipes with their grandchildren.
All right, Bill. Well, thanks so much for joining. There's more after the break. Stay tuned.
His wife wasn't able to attend the funeral. From the time he was rushed into the hospital with his stroke, for that 3 weeks, and then she had never seen him again.
Welcome back to theZoomer. Today, we're speaking with grandparents and their grandchildren and children as they try to stay connected during this time of physical distancing. I'm joined by Julie and Bruce Curda and their daughter, Taylor. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hi there.
Taylor, let me start with you. What's been the biggest challenge you've encountered during this pandemic?
Definitely a few weeks ago, my grandfather passed away.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Thank you. Yeah, so that was definitely the most difficult thing.
Were you able to say goodbye?
No, I was not.
Was he in a home or in a hospital
So
when it happened?
he was in retirement home and he had a stroke, so he was transferred to the hospital, but the hospital he was at had a COVID outbreak, so there was no visitors allowed. And then usually how it works is that when somebody's imminently dying, you're able to see them, but in this case, we weren't. He passed away before we would have been able to do that.
What was it like not being there to say goodbye?
It was, for obvious reasons, it was very difficult. I think that in your mind, you always think about, especially with grandparents, you know they're older and this is going to happen, but in your head, you feel like you're going to be able to say goodbye. So that feeling of not getting that moment to be able to say goodbye to him was incredibly difficult.
Well, again, I'm just so sorry for your loss. And Julie and Bruce, for your loss too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What's been the biggest challenge for you during this time?
Well, as Taylor said, when my dad was in the hospital, that probably was the most difficult, where he couldn't his wife couldn't say goodbye, his kids, grandchildren, and he's got a great granddaughter. So it was, that was probably the most difficult. We had set up a FaceTime scheduled for him. And unfortunately, he passed away about a half hour before that was able to come to fruition. The hospitals, unfortunately, have very few iPads or tablets. And we kind of had to wait our turn, and our turn didn't come soon enough, unfortunately. What we've done since then, I guess, the whole family got together and we decided we don't want to see that happen again. So what we've done is we started a fund where we're raising money for the palliative care unit over at the hospital. And I believe so far we've raised enough money for 3 iPads and accessories. So we're going to keep doing that to make sure that no other family has to do or go through what we had to go through.
We wanted to make sure that every room in palliative care has a designated tablet to it, so that person in the hospital can talk to their family and their family can talk to them anytime.
What a worthy cause.
So far we've got 3 iPads in rooms already, so yeah.
And you're accepting donations?
We are.
Yeah, we do that through the Trillium Healthcare Foundation.
Okay, so our audience can know in the event that they'd like to contribute. Were you able to have a funeral?
We were. Funerals are limited to 10 people, including the clergy. Unfortunately, in my dad's case, because he was from a retirement home and they had a COVID outbreak there, his wife wasn't able to attend the funeral. So
she never saw him again.
She never saw him from the time he was rushed into the hospital with his stroke for that 3 weeks, and then she'd never seen him again.
We didn't have a typical Jewish funeral, and we weren't allowed to sit Shiva, which is the 7-day mourning period. We weren't allowed to do it because that's when people come to visit your home and pay their respects. So Bruce had to sit here by himself, and our kids had to sit by themselves. And standing in the cemetery, and Robin's husband had to stay home to watch the baby, and to watch her standing there crying. Sorry. Go ahead.
It was definitely difficult, but hopefully it'll end soon. It'll end soon.
And hopefully nobody ever has to go through that again.
It's really tragic to hear these stories, and you start to realize the real impact that this pandemic is having on people's lives beyond just sort of the obvious human consequence. But, I understand you also have several grandkids.
Yes, I do.
And have you been able to see
granddaughters?
Have you been able to see them?
Again, using tablets.
FaceTime.
That's it. We're unfortunately a little too far to be able to do the drive-bys. We have 2 of them are in Toronto. We're up in north of there in Collingwood.
All right. Well, let me just ask very quickly, what are some of the things that you miss the most, Bruce and Julie, about not being able to see your grandkids? Because I imagine you probably saw them a lot more frequently than you do today.
Yes, absolutely. It's just that hug, getting to hold them, right? Physically hugging and kissing them instead of, as I said, a screen. So it'll all be pretty special when we can.
I think the thing I miss the most is, especially with the little ones, when they grab your finger. That's just an awesome feeling.
All right. Well, Julie, Bruce, and Taylor, thank you so much for joining me, for sharing your story. And again, my condolences to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Be well, stay safe. All right.
You too. Bye-bye.
We'll check in with more grandparents across the country after the break.
I miss tremendously, just tremendously. I feel that I'm part of their lives, and now I don't feel that I'm part of their lives.
Welcome back to theZoomer. Today we're checking in with grandparents right across Canada to see how they're coping with being away from their grandchildren during the COVID-19 pandemic. Right now, I'm joined by Lucy Waverman and her 3 grandchildren, Anna, Noah, and Talia. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Now, Talia and Noah, you guys are siblings?
Yeah.
And Anna,
Yeah.
you're a cousin?
First cousin.
Okay, terrific. Now, I understand, Lucy, this is only 3 of 7. Is that right?
Yes, it's 3 of 7.
An impressive number for sure.
I think so, and it's a privilege.
Have you been able to see your grandkids since the pandemic started?
No, what we've had drive-bys and waves and FaceTime or Zoom. And on Sunday, on Mother's Day, we actually went to Anna's household and we all sat out in the garden socially distancing. And that's really since January, because we were in Palm Springs for a couple of months.
Oh, so it's been almost half a year that you haven't been able to do what
Anna and Josh came down to Palm Springs. The other kids didn't. But yes, it's been a long time.
Yep.
Since we've been able to hug them or, have a real conversation with them without a screen in front of us.
And, Anna and Talia and Noah, apart from the physical distancing, I mean, what do you miss most about not being able to, be with your grandmother as regularly as you once were? Anna, I'll start with you.
I probably miss my grandmother's cooking a lot because she would always cook such yummy meals for us. And like we used to go over almost every Friday for dinners and all gather and see all my family, and it's hard not to see them so often and hang out with them and enjoy a meal together.
Well, and I've had the privilege of having some of Lucy's meals, so I know exactly what you mean when you talk about delicious food. And Talia, how about you? What do you miss the most?
I definitely miss just being like a family and just seeing everyone together and just talking about our days and just that family dinner type thing.
And how about you, Noah?
As they both said about the family dinners, but I also miss on birthdays how we'd all get together, and I miss those special moments.
Lucy, tell me a little bit about sort of the activities that you used to do before physical distancing took over our lives.
Well, one of the things that we did with our grandchildren, which I think brought us closer to them, was we've taken them all away on a trip on their own. And we've been to some really interesting places when they've been somewhere between 10 and 12. I mean, Anna went to Belize, Noah went to Costa Rica, and Talia went to Ixtapa. So it gave us a real connection, a connection that is sometimes hard to have when you don't see your grandchildren all the time. But it was just Bruce and I and the grandchild. And I think that we became very close and very understanding of each other through these trips. And subsequent to that, we spend a lot of time with each one of the grandchildren. I mean, yes, family dinners and all the rest of it, but we also go out for dinner. Noah loves ramen, so we go for ramen. Talia likes dim sum. Anna's the healthiest eater. And we try to, and we have really great conversations together when there's no parents around or other siblings. And I miss that tremendously, just tremendously. I feel that I'm part of their lives, and now I don't feel that I'm part of their lives.
You really do feel that loss from the physical contact.
I feel the real loss. And grandchildren grow up very quickly. They change a lot. I think Talia's grown 3 inches since I've seen her.
Noah, how have your grandparents enriched your life?
I would like to, as Znaimer said, going on a trip, right, with her when we were younger. I went to Costa Rica, which I've never gone before. I have these new experiences, which I've never had before, and that's all because of Lucy.
And Talia, Anna, how about you? I mean, obviously, the relationship is very different, the one that you have with your parents versus the one that you have with your grandparents. At least that was the case for me.
Yeah, so I feel like you don't want to tell your parents everything. So telling grandparents is definitely a second resort that I can go to. Like if I need help or anything, I definitely go to Lucy, and it's just another, she's always there for us, and it's hard not being able to talk to her as much and see her.
And Anna?
Well, I found a new love for cooking and being in the kitchen, and my grandmother was a real inspiration to that, because without her, I probably would never have found that joy that I have for cooking and being in the kitchen. And I get to talk to her and call her about all the new things I'm trying to cook, and all of the things that we get to talk about has really driven a new passion for me. And also, like Talia said, she's always there. Like sometimes, obviously, I don't want to tell my mom things, and I can just call her and we can gossip and just talk about so many things and she's always there and always ready to listen and give advice.
Lucy, it sounds like you have, had such an enormous impact on the lives of your grandkids, and I'm sure the impact is mutual.
That's for sure.
It is definitely mutual. They've had a huge impact on my life. They've made me more aware. They've made me softer. They've made me, put myself aside for their needs, very much so. For me, grandchildren is a gift that keeps on giving.
All right, well, thank you guys so much for joining and for sharing your stories.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Take care. That's all the time we have today. Thank you to my guests and to our audience at home. We'll see you soon.